Hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to another edition of the Poetry of Painting, number 110 in actual fact. So this week we're welcoming back the delightful Steph Percival with another of her beautiful poems. So let me bring her onto the screen and introduce her. Hi, Steph. How are you doing?
Hi, Fiona. I'm fine, thank you very much.
Good, good.
Good to be back.
Indeed, it's great to have you back. And it's been a while because I know you've been rather busy with some other projects. So
Yes.
Exciting stuff. I'm sure we'll hear a bit more about that later. And so it has been quite a while, and you've had a painting that you've been working on interpreting as a poem, or being inspired by to write a poem, I should say. Oh, Chris says hello both. Nice to be with you. Great to have you with us, Chris. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you. I know you saw this painting quite a while ago and said it inspired you, and I've been itching to hear what you write about.
Right, yes. As I said to you before, it does take me quite a while to sort of, not the inspiration point is fine, because I sort of see get an idea about what I might write about, but then it's actually, it takes quite a long time for all that to seep down and work out how I'm going to say what I want to say.
Yes.
I'll give you a clue. I did a little bit of research as well. Had to do a little bit of research into this poem as well. So, which was really enjoyable. But yeah.
Good. Well, having heard your other poetry, it's been like, oh, I want to hear this one. So let me just put the painting up on the screen. It is behind me here, but that's just in a little background, so it's not so easy to see. So I'm just going to bring the painting up a little bit bigger for people to see. So all you knew about this one, Steph, was the title, which is Sunrise on the Marsh.
Yes.
So obviously that has inspired you. The painting itself was, I think it was 24 by 20 inches, and it's in oils, as most of my work is. But this one was actually painted with brushes and using some beeswax medium as well. So more about that afterwards, maybe, because I would really love to hear your poem.
Right. It's called Making a Day. Catch winnowing winds to stir the sails of morning. Pick threads of light and wind on cogs of dawn. Sweet strata together, string brightness, seeding skies. Gather scattered air, yellows, ochre, brown. Harvest the sky and marsh reflections. Reap breeze to separate the grain from chaff, grist for the mill. Let it trickle through your fingers, like sand running through an hourglass marking time. Grind between the ruts and furrows of the land. The sun will be the runner, earth the bedstone of this day. Silver grey, heron glides, indistinguishable from mist, feathering with wide blade wings, slow and steady, steady and slow. Beat, rest, beat, rest. Birdsong seasons, tilling and chuffing, boom of bittern. Warbling, plucked from warblers perched in reeds. Blend earth, water, air, to light and shade. Knead vapour into towering clouds. Sun rises over the horizon. A new day bakes, gilded, golden.
Wow. That is just so beautiful. And just all of that from my humble painting is just beautiful. Absolutely. to take on some of your poetry. You know, you've woven so many threads into that, so many different aspects of it, you know, the bird song and the colors and the air and the grinding and the wow, love it,
Thank you.
absolutely love it. Thank you. That was definitely very much worth waiting for, and I should be listening to that again after the show because I just need to hear it again to savor it properly. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Absolutely gorgeous.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, with that painting, the first thing that struck me was the windmill there. And again, it looked as if the sails should be turning the sky. And that was my sort of initial inspiration. That was the initial point. And then what I actually did was I looked a little bit at the milling process and the millstones. And again, you sort of know some of it in general, but you have in fact two millstones, and one is the bedstone and one is the runner. So again, and on those stones, you also get sort of ridging and furrowing, little bits like that. So again, so I know a lot more about milling than I ever did before, but yeah, so that's what struck me, and the way that that's sort of standing there, ready to turn the sky almost. And so I'm glad that it, came out all right in the end.
I think come out all right is rather an understatement. Let's put it. Yeah, definitely. That was absolutely gorgeous. Thank you again. So yes, I love that idea about the sails turning the sky. Just, you know, and maybe, you know, sending the sun, you know, by turning it and sending it on its way over. Yeah.
Well, I love the colours in that sky. That look at, there's so many colours in there, and in fact, when I'm looking at it now in a bigger screen, I can sort of see even more. So, I mean, I don't know whether you actually, your colour palette, you use a lot of colours, or whether actually it's just the way they're blended together.
It's normally the blending, because I tend to keep 3 or 4 colours plus white for one painting, because it keeps a colour harmony across the whole painting that way. If you start adding too many colours, you know, you get a paint box and you think, oh, all these wonderful juicy colours. Oh, you know, it's like a sweet shop for artists, you know, it's just wonderful. But if you start using lots of those colours, you can end up sometimes with a very jarring sort of looking painting, especially for a landscape. I mean, you know, maybe an abstract where you want it to be really bold and bright and colourful, you may include more colours. But for a landscape, for me, keeping to 3 or 4 colours plus the white, as I say, generally gives a much more harmonious effect. But it doesn't have to be boring, as you can see, as you pointed out, in the sky. There are different blends, different proportions of different colours, and you can get so many colours from just 3 or 4 different tubes of paint. It's amazing. So, and it's very good practice. Any artists out there watching, you know, if you're struggling with colour, just limit yourself to 3 tubes of colour to start with. Get to know them, get to know what they can all do, then maybe add a 4th one, or change one for a different colour. And that's a really good way of learning what your colours can do, learning about colour mixing, excuse me, and keeping harmony in the painting. The painting that Yvonne wrote about the other week, sorry, I shall be quiet in a minute and let you talk, was actually done with just 2 colours, a purple and a yellow and white. But to look at it, you know, it looks like there's a lot more colours. So I love that you've seen all those colours in the sky. That's lovely. So thank you. Let me take that.
Is it based anywhere particular? again, I know that the last one I wrote about of yours was, you said it was, you sort of used lots of different places, but it's a real place. Is the mirror real?
It's based on a Norfolk scene. Basically the windmill capital of the UK, I think, in some respects. They seem to have a lot of lovely old windmills over there. Sadly, I don't know whether any of them are actually really working these days, or not working commercially, probably, unless they're the drainage mills. Maybe there are some, but they have some super windmills over there. And of course the landscape is just wonderful, with the big skies, and the colours and the light, that with the big skies, which obviously the sky is no bigger there than it is here in that respect, apart from you've got less land interrupting it and less buildings interrupting it, but it just seems to fill the landscape with a different light. Oh, Rosie says, hi ladies, sorry I can't be on live, Folk Club beckons, but we'll listen back later. Thanks, Rosie. Enjoy Folk Club. Have a lovely time. So yeah, this one is based on a real place, but it's fairly much not abstracted, but reduced to sort of atmospherics and things.
Yes, because it does look like somewhere, I don't know Norfolk very well, but a particular place that I have visited, and I just remember this sort of, again, it's more a feeling about it, really. Like you say, the skies is very atmospheric, and then the water, but it's marshy water and lots of reeds and things like that. And it's
lovely landscape.
Yes.
Well, this, as I mentioned before, this one was actually done with oil paint and beeswax medium, which if you saw the painting actually in real life, it gives a real translucency to the paint. So it, with the leaving a white canvas underneath, as opposed to working on a coloured ground, as we call it, it allows the white of the canvas to glow through the paint, and it just makes that sunlit area seem to really glow and vibrate.
So did you put the beeswax on? You put that on first, do you, or do you put it on after, or do you mix it with the paint?
Actually mix it with the paint, so you've got the colour included, but the beeswax sort of extends the paint. It increases the volume, and because the paint isn't as dense on the canvas, it allows some of the light to come through more from the canvas itself. So but without changing the colour. If I was to put the yellow on and add white to it, it would make it more of a lemony, chalky yellow, pale yellow. Whereas putting the beeswax, you still keep that same colour, but you get that translucency, or depending on what colour pigment you're using, transparency in actual fact of the colour that's been applied. So it's a nice way to work sometimes. I have used it with knives as well, and you can get some really nice texture with that as well, but it can take a little while to dry, so I don't tend to use it very thickly very often. So Chris says, I'm amazed that you have used so few paints to produce so much colour. It can be done. It's you don't need a lot of different colours, especially if you can get to 3 almost primary colours, which is very difficult to get to an absolutely pure blue, an absolutely pure red and yellow. But if you can get as close to that as possible, and then with the white, and maybe for this one I would have used what we call an earth colour, so a dark brown, called earth colours because they were actually made from earth, sometimes burnt, so roasted and making a different colour. So with that, you can make almost a black as well, with the blue and the dark brown makes almost black, but with a bit more life in it. And you can make so many colours just with those 3. It's amazing. So Chris says, such is the skill or magic of the artist. It is, and it's also a reflection of practice and learning and experience as well. So But it's, you know, if you're an artist, it's such good fun learning about colour and playing and practicing and experimenting, and that's how we learn. And do you find that with poetry, Steph, as well, that through practice, experimenting, trying different styles, that
Yes,
has
certainly with my writing in general. I mean, I look back now when I sort of started to write more seriously, and would probably go through everything now with the red pen and change everything about. But you sort of have to go through those steps to come out to find. I think that's the other thing that, again, established authors would say is, you know, sort of find your voice and trust in your voice. So and don't, although you can admire somebody's work and try and take some lessons from it and see how they've done things, you know, I'm never going to write like other people. And I suppose that's the other thing, as you become more experienced, you become a little bit more confident in what you're doing. So again, and I think, yes, I think that's helpful as well. You know, you can sort of trust yourself a little bit more.
So finding your own style.
Yes, finding a style. And also, again, writing in the genre. I mean, I suppose poetry aside, in genres of story, of fiction writing, I tend to be I like sort of mystery. I like a little bit of paranormal, but you know, I'm not going to write a romance or that type of thing. And I'm probably not going to write horror or something like that. So you sort of find your natural groove, as it were.
Yes, and it has to resonate with you, otherwise you're not going to produce good work, are you? It's like the painting and I think painting, writing, music, it's got to come from some place deep inside to convey meaning to other people.
And I think particularly when you're writing about a painting or somebody else's artwork, it's good that again resonates with me, your sort of style and everything. I know you do different styles, but you know, I could have probably written a poem on any of the paintings you sent me. So that's always good. You know, that you know that again, that works. Whereas I think if you, well, I don't know, I have written things about sort of abstract paintings and objects as well. When I used to go to the museum and used to write about the exhibits there. So there's, and again, it's quite nice to try out different things. You don't want to be you know, you can find your groove, but you don't want it to be a rut, basically. So you want to try something a little bit different. What about you? Do you? I mean, I know you do pet portraits, don't you? But do you actually
people as well? Yes.
And do you do other styles?
It tends to be portrait commissions, people and animals, or when I'm doing landscapes, and I have done a few florals, but not very many. But it tends to be more the landscapes, but occasionally I will think, oh, you know, just a little seed of an idea, and if it takes root and starts to grow, I think, oh, that's really fun, you know. And it may be something that I think, oh, I'm just going to try this. I really don't know if this is going to work at all, but I just fancy giving it a go. And you can have a picture in your head, and of course, with any painting of mine, at least, I can have the picture in my head of what I think I'm going to do. And as I'm working, I often think, actually, no, that doesn't work. I'm going to do this or change that. And it can end up really quite different from how I envisaged it would end up. But I think, I don't know if that happens in writing as well, but it's allowing what you're creating to also lead the way a bit as well, and maybe take you on hopefully a better path than you had originally intended. So surprises come about in that sort of way. And yeah, recently I tried a portrait in watercolor, just for a change, just to do something different. And I'd seen a demonstrator who had done a fantastic portrait, Amanda Webster, lovely lady. Look her up online, folks. She's very accomplished and talented, especially watercolor, beautiful. And I'd seen her demonstrate a watercolor portrait. And of course, Amanda makes it look exceptionally easy, no problem whatsoever. But if you don't give it a go and try, and I tried to emulate some of the techniques that she had demonstrated, and it came out okay. Nothing as good as she had produced, and it's not my medium, but I think occasionally it's good to get out of your comfort zone and just try something different. Yeah, so I enjoyed it, but I probably won't be posting it on social media anytime soon. But
no, you have to have another go, like you say, a bit of practice.
Well, true, but I do love the oil paints. So, but Steph, you write poetry, but you also write stories, fiction, short stories.
Yes, I've been writing more short fiction lately and flash fiction, which is sort of very short stuff. But and again, that's quite a challenge in getting a sort of story into quite a few words, but still having the elements of a good story in there.
So how many words would that be in a flash?
Well, a flash is usually about sort of 500 to 1,000 possibly, and then I would say short stories, sort of over 1,000, 2,000 maybe. But yes, I'm quite enjoying my short story writing, and I've had a couple of successes along the way lately.
Excellent.
So yes, I've actually got 2 stories. Oh no, I've got it on back to front. But
no, it looks the right way to us.
Oh, it does. Oh, it looks backwards to me, but then I'm this side, right?
Yeah.
Right, it's the Paragon Prize 2023. And they select sort of 30 stories to put in their anthology. And I have got 2 stories in there, which I'm really, really proud of.
Oh, congratulations. Well done.
That's one. Again, I'll put the link on the stream.
In the comments, yes.
So that was right. And it's quite nice when you've actually, because both of those stories have actually taken a long, long time to actually get to where they've been published. They, you have an idea and you sort of think, oh, I quite like this, and you like the story, but it might need tweaking a little bit along the way. So thank you, Chris. Yeah. So that's always nice, especially when that anthology as well has the other stories in it. I sort of think, I'm glad to be among those other writers. It's a if you like that's short stories. So if you like short stories, that's you can just dip into it and
lovely. Wow.
But also, I haven't got the little anthology. Farnham. There was a Farnham Prize, and they do a very small. This was flash fiction, so it's 500 words, and they produced a little anthology of which I am in, and I've actually read that short story because I have a little podcast site called Steph's Storyville. And I just read some of my short stories and post them on there, so people can listen to them through Spotify. Really, is the main one. But I'll put that link on there as well. So that's got. I don't think it's got. I will be recording the 2 in the Paragon Prize, but that's got my the Farm the Farnham one as well, and that's got me talking about it. And then I had another little story. I think it was even shorter than that. I think it's about 300 words in what they call the National Flash Flood. And they have a day where from sort of 0 hours, they'll post a flash fiction all through the day. So there's, a lot of them. But again, it was quite nice. And again, that was a little bit different, the piece I wrote for that, because it was a one-sentence story. And again, it was something that, again, I came across in a workshop, and you sort of have a go at doing this, and again you're sort of thinking, and the the suggestions they give you and the piece of work to refer to are just, you sort of think, how did somebody do that without any punctuation type of thing. So, and this just seemed to actually work quite well. So it's a little bit quirky, it's a little bit different, but no, I was very pleased that that got published.
Do you have that to hand? Could you read us your one-sentence story? Because I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to know.
Possibly, if you like to hear it.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Right, let me see where it would be.
While you're looking, let me just say thank you to everybody who's watching, whether you're live or on replay. Sorry, I had not actually said thank you just yet, but we do appreciate you and your comments.
Right, yes, here we are. I've got it. So shall I go for it?
Yes, please.
I need to take a deep breath here and read very slowly. An everyday circus act. I'm so tired, I mistakenly follow a spider into its web, my vision blurred, stumbling onto the sticky thread, grabbing blindly for the broom which steadies my balance. Before I know it, I'm tightrope walking and find if I concentrate, can catch up things, muddy football boots, soiled nappies, discarded laundry, pots and pans that gleam and glint as they tower upon each hand. If something drops, I use a thread as a trapeze and swing down, collecting it from the floor, swiping the pill bottle from the side, swallowing a mother's little helper, and then I continue, preparing meals, chopping onions with a sharp knife, making me cry hot tears. But it's only onions, and if I focus, nothing else creeps in, and I wipe snot and tears from my face, and it doesn't matter I haven't put makeup on, because then there's nothing to smear, so I can carry on juggling carrots and potatoes faster and faster, spinning plates so they hiss as they rotate, wobble slightly as they slow, then pick up speed with one deft flick of my wrist, and behind their whizzing and spitting fat in the pan, applause reverberates like distant thunder. It's my family and friends watching, amazed at my dexterity. Their clapping thumps around me, making everything tremble, including the web, so my hands become clammy because I know it will all topple. Threads beneath my feet sag, and nausea washes from my stomach, thinking I've maybe left something on the cooker or the baby in the supermarket, and I lift the knapsack weighted on my back and the shopping bags with stretching, almost breaking handles, scrambling through them in desperation for another pill, with one foot off the thread, dangling precariously, and finally falling, unable to save myself.
Wow, that's magic. That's absolutely brilliant. I love it.
Thank you.
It's just a roller coaster.
It is, yes. And I think there are moments in my life that may have seemed a bit like that.
Chris said, "Wow, indeed, absolutely, yeah." And
Thank you, Chris.
Gosh, it just sounds like a young mum's nightmare.
absolutely. Yes, trying to spin everything and carry everything and just
Absolutely.
not really getting there yet.
Oh,
Yes.
brilliant.
So
Well,
I'll probably read that one and put it on Steph's Storyville as well.
lovely. Steph, I'm afraid we're running out of time now, but thank you so much for reading that for us as well. Beautiful poem. Great talking with you. Do put your links into the comments on Facebook afterwards. And thank you very much again for being on the show. And I look forward to having you back very soon.
Yeah, I look forward to that too. Yeah.
Congratulations on being published in so many publications. Sorry. So thank you so much. And see you soon, Steph.
Yeah,
Take care. See you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.